Hi, I'm Andy. Welcome to One Man and His Meeple. Today I'm going to be playing Mini Express 2020 Kickstarter designed by Mark Gerrits and published by Moaideas. In Mini Express, we're directing companies to build rails across America, or on the flip side of the board, Europe. Each round you have two simple actions to choose from. You pick a company and either buy a share in that company, or you build some rails to a new city. Each time you buy a share, you pay for it using some of the influence you've accrued, and every time you build rails, you acquire some more of that influence, and the company hopefully increases its share value. At the end of the game, each person earns an amount of victory points for each share they hold, depending on their respective influence in that company, and the value of those shares. The person with the most influence receives more per share than those with less influence. In the solo game, we use a set of tiles for the bot, your opponent, to decide which city to build towards and which company it will use to do so, or alternatively, which shares it might buy. I'll demonstrate how that works as I play. Today, I'm playing on Expert difficulty. This affects how many shares the bot starts with and signifies that it increases influence when it buys a share rather than paying for it. It also affects the amount of trains available for building rails. I'll be starting and I'm playing blue. The bot is red and the secondary bot markers will be purple. Okay, so we have a little bit more setup to do just before we start the game. First of all, I have to pick two shares from different colours. I'm going to take grey and orange. And then the bot uses the tiles in the bag to pick two more shares. And on this difficulty level, the bot gets two of each picked colour. So the first tile out is this one. And we're looking at this symbol at the bottom, which means it skips two spaces on here, 1, 2, and takes two orange shares. So grab another one out of there. And the second tile out is going to skip 3 places, right camera, 3 spaces, 1, 2, 3, and take 2 greys, same as I am. Another one out of there. Right, so these are out of the game. These tiles stay there until we get a shuffle tile come out. And we're ready to go. So I'm going to go first. At the start of the game, it's impossible to buy a share because I don't have enough influence. So I'm going to build rails. So I'm going to build. My companies that I've got stock in are grey and orange. So it might make sense to build influence in grey and orange. At the same time, if I build out here, I can get the grey value to go up. I'll show you how. So I'm going to need 2 trains to get from Wilmington to Atlanta. 2 trains. There's 1 train in the on a non-city hex. So that means grey goes up 1 space on this value chart on the right-hand side here. And then because it's reached Atlanta, where there is steel and skins, I get, oh no, I'm blue, I get 1 steel and 1 orange on that track, which is my influence track. And this is what I'm going to spend in order to buy shares when that happens. It also happens that, this was quite by accident, the bot is on the grey space, which means it can't go 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces because none of these tiles have 4 on the bottom, so it won't go 4 spaces and buy a grey share. Not that it matters because it doesn't pay influence anyway, but I know for a fact that it won't go 4 spaces. So that's the end of my go, essentially. Quite simple. I built rails, got some influence, and the value of the grey company went up. So the bot chooses this, or I pick this tile for the bot, which means it's going to go, well, the first step for the bot always just goes straight into Augusta up there. That's what this marker is just saying. That's the city that it's building towards. And then it goes 1 space on there. So the orange company is going to build towards Augusta. The nearest city towards Augusta that orange can reach is New York, and it does that with 1 train. So red goes up to orange because there's 2 skins on this symbol. Orange does not go up in value because there are no orange trains in in spaces outside of cities. So that's the bots go. Back to me, noting where the bot is here, and I'm going to build orange from Erie to Detroit, and I'll explain why I'm doing that. So orange goes up 1 point in value, and I get a steel and a wood. Now what I've done is the number of trains in these spaces dictates how much shares will cost in that company. For me, for the bot, that doesn't cost the bot anything. In fact, when they buy shares, it gains influence, but we'll ignore that for now. So to buy an orange share on my turn will cost me 1 influence, and I can safely leave that space depleted because I know the bot's not going to go 4 spaces. So when it comes next around to me, that orange train is still going to be, or the orange stock is still going to be 1 cost, if that makes sense. Right, bots go. This means the city, right, okay. The city marker is going to move 1 space. Now all these cities have tiny little numbers on them in the corners here, but essentially they go from right to left, top to bottom. So Augusta is number 1, and then New York is number 2. So the bot's target city this round is New York. This moves 1 space on, so it means the white company is going to attempt to build towards New York. Now obviously it's miles from New York. It's down here in Tallahassee, and it only has 4 trains. So how close to New York can it build? You can't build through another city, so it can't build up through Atlanta to say Louisville, but it can go through spaces where there are already trains, and in fact that triggers an action. Well, not an action, it triggers an event. But where can it get with 4 trains? So it's 4 trains here. That's the extent of the rails it can build. 1, 2, 3. It can get to Nashville. It can obviously get to Atlanta. It can't get any closer. So is Atlanta or Nashville closest? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're both the same. And in that case, it goes for the one with the highest index number. Pretty sure. I will double check that, but I think it's going to head towards Nashville. It can't reach Louisville, can it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to get into there. So no, it can't. Yeah, so the one of the tie breaks for choosing, actually, the first tie break or the earliest tie break for picking a city space is one that already has a train in it or has the most trains in it. So it's actually going to go into Atlanta. So now there are 2 trains in Atlanta. Because it's landed in a space, or it's built rails through a space where there's already another company's engine, another company's locomotive, it adds 1 to that company's space. It's like compensation because it's used its rails, say. Okay, so white goes up 1 on here because it's got 1 rail, 1 train in the countryside outside of a city, and red goes up on the steel and skins track. There's a number 3 in Atlanta here, just there, and it's got a gold border, which means 3 companies can build into Atlanta. Nashville here has only got 1. When that number is exhausted, when that many companies are built into the city, you remove the token and no other trains can go there, nor can they go through it. So when I said earlier on that the orange share will probably be 1, it was because of this little rule that it's possible that if brown had built into Detroit, say, orange would have had another train added to it. So the share price would have gone up to 2. But as it happens, that didn't. So I'm going to buy the an orange stock certificate, and it's mine. So that cost me 1 influence. And additionally, I have to add 3 orange trains into that area there. So you can see how influence is balanced, how buying a stock diminishes your influence. But if there are no trains in a space, you can have that stock for nothing, which is great. Right, bots go. It's got 2 on the city and 2 on the company track. So New York, Miami is 3, Detroit is 4. So that's 1, 2 spaces, and the company that's going to build with is grey. So the grey company is going to build towards Detroit, and it's got 3 trains, so it's going to build straight into Detroit. Now, there are rules for picking routes. Obviously, in this case, it's a straight route. But there are rules in the there are rules in the book for how to, if you've got 2 different routes, which route it should pick, and essentially it follows sort of a clockwise circle route, but it will always take the shortest path. So grey goes up by 2. Bumbling these little station houses, so that's on 3 now. Just double check that. 1, 2, 3 trains in the countryside. Orange would get 1 added, but in the, I think it's the expert rules, or one of the higher rules that I'm playing, the higher difficulty rules, if there are more than 2 trains here, then it won't add 1. The bot gets 1 steel and 1 wood. And because Detroit there is only got 2 spaces for companies, we're going to remove that token, so no other companies can build into Detroit now. Right, back to us. As you can see, there are no grey trains here, so we can have that grey share for free. But what? But that's going to be like that next turn as well, hopefully. So I could use like a white train just to build into Nashville, or even into Birmingham or something. And then maybe like open up another space for cheap shares next round as well. Because I know the bot's not going to go 4 spaces round back to grey, unless there are circumstances in which it can do it. If the space it's building to won't support that company, then it'll pick a different company, and I'm sure that will happen throughout the game. So we can see it when it happens. So I'm going to use these 2 white trains to build from Tallahassee into Birmingham there, putting the value of the white company up 1 and earning me 1 skin and 1 wood. Right, bots go. Let's hope it doesn't get a 2, although it would have bought shares anyway, because there are only 2 there. The bot instructions say it will buy a share if there are 0, 1 or 2 trains in this space. So it would have bought a share anyway. Okay, so the city movement is 2. So that's Atlanta, and then up to there. I don't know what that is. It says Sault Ste. Marie. Sault Ste. Marie? I'm not sure. And 3 spaces on the company. 1, 2, 3. So it's going to be the brown company building towards this place, and the brown company starts in Baltimore here, and it has 4 trains. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can actually reach there. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it can't go the clockwise route, so it will go. This is kind of what I was talking about, the route building. So we can get up to this city by going 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will take the clockwise route, if that makes sense. So 1, 2, 3, 4. There's only 1 company allowed in there. Right, so first of all, first things first, brown gets 3 points for the 3 trains in the countryside. Orange would get compensation, but Orange already has 4 trains there. There's a maximum of 5, and as I said, the bot won't add compensation there if it's above 2. And then the bot gets 1 cotton, first cotton of the game, and 1 steel. We're removing that from the game because there's only space for 1 city up there, 1 company up there. So now back to us. We're spoilt for choice, really. We can buy a share in brown, grey, or white. Now we've already got a grey share, and grey is more valuable than white, and we have more influence on on grey. So I'm going to pick up that grey share for free. And when you pick up a share, like before, we add 3 trains. Into that space. Back to the company. Now there are a couple of shuffle tiles in here, and when we get one of those, we just put everything back in the bag, mix them up and start again. So 1 on the city. So that's down to Louisville, and then 3 on the company track. 1, 2, 3, which is unfortunate for us. That means they're going to buy a white share, and they get 2 influence on the white track. Now, I think chasing the influence on here is almost impossible to chase the bot influence in this game, especially if you're playing the expert rules where they add 2 influence when they buy a share. So I'm inclined to not really worry about it. It's great if you can get up there, if you can beat them, but you have to try and beat the bot on pure number of shares rather than influence, in my experience so far anyway. Right, they bought a white share, so we add, for the bot it's up to 3 trains, so if there was 1 there they would add 2, but we're building that up to 3. So our goal, I think, fairly obvious. We're going to buy a brown company share for free. The city movement is 2, so that's Nashville, then Chicago, and oh, I should have added 3 brown trains in there. 1, 2, 3. Okay, thought I'd lost 1 there. So they're going to there, and the brown company is going to try to build to Chicago, and in fact it can get there. So we can get there simply by going from there. So brown increases by 1, and the bot gets 1 skin and 1 wood. Okay, so at this point we could buy brown share for 1 influence. I'm just looking to see if we could actually use that brown train somewhere on its own, but we can't. There's nowhere it can go. If Detroit supported another company, we could build into there and use up that last train, but that's not going to happen. So I think this round I'm just going to buy that brown share for 1 influence and then add 3 brown trains into there. 2, 3. Okay, bots go. One city space down to Birmingham, and then 2 on here. 1, 2. So it's going to build, the orange company is going to build towards Birmingham. So I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It can't quite get there, so it's going to build into probably Atlanta, based on the company's tiebreaker. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3. So orange gets 2. White and grey would get compensation, but not in this advanced mode. The bot gets, I'm going to put that train back before I forget about it. The bot gets 1 skin, 1 steel, and we've used up all the supplies in Atlanta, so we'll just remove that token now. Okay, I'll go. Now we could buy this orange share for 1, but I'm going to use this last orange train, and we can either use it to go into That's not helpful, is it? We can use it to go into Nashville or Louisville. Now, do I want influence in steel and wood, or do I want influence in cotton and skin? I think I want to get the cotton up, just so I've got something to buy white shares with if I need to later in the game. So we're going to use that last orange train to go into Nashville. The orange value doesn't go up, but I get 1 white, 1 orange, leaving this to be a free share next turn, as long as nothing terrible happens. So let's see where the bot's going to go. 1 on the city space, so it's going from Birmingham up to Duluth, and then 1 on here, so it's going to white. So the white company, which is currently all down here in the southeast, is going to try and build towards Duluth. It's got 3 trains. It may be that the closest it can get to is Louisville. Actually, it's got a train in there. So it can get to Louisville that way, it can get to Louisville that way. 1, 2, 3, and that's only 2, so it's going to use this short route. That's definitely the closest it can get to Duluth though, isn't it? Yeah. Fort Smith and Tulsa are further away. So it's going to use the shortest route, so it's going to go in there, which means orange and grey would get a compensation train. Orange is, grey isn't. So that scuppers our plans to get a free orange share. And the white train goes into Louisville. So the bot gets 1 steel, 1 wood. The white company gets 1 of those. 1, 2, 3. Yep, okay. And right, so back to us. So we can buy that orange share for 1 influence, which I still think is probably worth it. All the companies are pretty much around the same value at the moment. I'm going to take that. My influence there in orange goes down 1 to pay for 1 train, and we add 3 more back in here. Right. Now, the game ends when 2 of these share piles have been depleted. So you can't exactly see there, right? So there are 3 orange left, 4 grey, and 5 white, 4 brown, and 5 grey, 5 white. So we're still nowhere near that. If all of these, if one company's supply of trains from up here is depleted, we instantly remove the rest of their certificates from the game. So yeah, as soon as 2 of these piles are depleted, the bot will get 1 last go. i.e. it will play round back to the last player, which is the bot, as I started. So right, bots go. It's the recycle symbol, so we put that and all of these back in the bag, give them a good shake and redraw. Okay, so we're going 2 on the city spaces, so New Orleans and then Fort Smith, and 1 on the company space, so the Brown Company is going to build towards Fort Smith. Brown Company is closest up here in Chicago. 1, 2, 3, 4, so we can actually reach and use all of those trains. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, it's this clockwise rule. It could go that way, could go that way, but this is the most sort of circular clockwise route. So white goes up in wood and cotton. Red goes up in wood and cotton, sorry, and the Brown Company gets 3 more on here. 6, 7. So back to us, there's an obvious Brown share to be bought there, especially with the value of the Brown Company now. And this is quite crowded, so there's a good chance of other trains coming in here and giving Brown compensation. So I'm just going to take that for 0 influence. And it's back to the bottom. 2 on the city, 13, 14, 15. And 2 on the, oh right, could have had some of these. 3 trains in there. 2 on the city, on the company marker, so the Orange Company is going to be building towards Omaha. It looks like Chicago is probably its best bet, although actually, can it reach Tulsa from Nashville? 1, 2, 3, 4, it can. So it is going to. So as you can see, the bot doesn't really buy a lot of shares if you manage that carefully. Brown would receive compensation but won't, because there's 3 in there. Okay, so orange gets 3 points, taking it up to 6. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Hang on a sec. Orange can build straight into Omaha. 1, 2 from Nashville. 3, 4. So straight into Omaha there. Still 3 points, so that is correct. And the bot gets 1 orange and 1 steel, 1 skin and 1 steel. Back to us. I'm going to buy the orange share. Now this is how it kind of ends up going in this solo game with the rules as is, that you buy a lot of shares and the bot does a lot of building. But add that. It's add 3 of them. Okay, city marker 1 down to Tulsa, company marker 1. Right. So maybe I should have built that white share. Bought that white share, right. So the red company, the red bot buys a white stock, white share, and increases that up to 3. And gets 2 influence for buying a share. Yeah, so I made a bit of a gap there. I should have bought the white share for 1, I think, and left the orange share cheap. But again, okay, so I might now use those 3 white trains to make up for my mistake. I could build from Tallahassee down to Miami using those 3 white trains, which will get me 2 steel. Which isn't bad. It's going to be quite useful. There's a rough, a fleeting chance we might actually beat the bot on influence there. So let's use those 3. 1, 2, 3. to deplete Miami's steel resources. So I get 2. White goes up 2 on there. Miami, famous for its steel industry, I suppose. Okay. Right, so the city marker moves from 16 to 17, McAllen, down there on the border of Mexico, and this goes 1, 2, 3. So the orange company is going to be building towards McAllen. It has 3 trains, so it can get to Birmingham, it can get to Fort Smith, Tulsa. But where's closest? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're all about the same distance. So tie breaks are the shortest distance in rails. So 2, 2, and 2. The next tie break is the number of companies already there, which is 1 and 1. So it's between Fort Smith and Birmingham. And the final tie break then is the highest index number, which is Fort Smith. So orange is going to build into Fort Smith, and it's going to come from this hex because this is the furthest towards that corner as the rules state. So 1 into there, 1 into there. There will be compensation for the brown company, but it doesn't apply in this difficulty. Red gets 1 wood and 1 cotton. Brown gets orange gets 1 point on there. What happened? Did I forget to add some white trains in after the bot bought that share last time? I think I forgot to put some white trains in there because that doesn't look right. Okay, now back to us. Should we buy that orange share for 1? We're going big on orange here. I mean, orange is certainly shaping up to be a valuable company. Can we use that single orange train? We could build into Louisville, yeah. Getting us 1 steel and 1 wood. I'm going to do that. So I'm going to build into Louisville there. Orange doesn't go up in value, but we get 1 steel and 1 wood, and that's removed. And white gets compensation. Does get compensation from us. It wouldn't get compensation from the bot. And now it's the bot's go. It's the recycle. So everything back in the bag and draw another. City 1 up to Fort Berthold. And 3, 1, 2, 3 to the Grey Company. It's going to build up there towards Fort Berthold here. Berthold, not sure. So Grey hasn't progressed beyond these 3 here. And it has 3 trains. Sometimes these can be a little tricky to work out, but I think in this case it's fairly obviously going to build into Duluth here. 1, 2, 3. So 1, and brown would get compensation ordinarily, but not this time. 2, 2 value on there, and red gets 1 steel and 1 cotton. Back to us. Again, I think I've forgotten to put out orange trains after I bought a share. No, I didn't buy a share, did I? I deliberately used up the last train to go into Louisville. So I'm going to have that orange stock for nothing now. Bots go. It's 2 on the cities. So skips Odessa into Denver, and then 3 on here. 1, 2, 3. Right, now that time I did forget to put 3 trains into orange. Okay, so 3, the brown company is going to progress towards Denver. Tulsa and Omaha look equidistant from Denver. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So it's just going to use one train to skip into Tulsa from Fort Smith there. The first time we've seen this symbol in the game. This little cube symbol on the right hand side there is a wild card. If I pick it, I can take 1 steel and 1 of any of the other types. If the bot picks it up, it just gets 1 of everything. So 1 wood, 1 steel, 1 skin, and tops out on cotton. And brown does not increase in value because it didn't go through the countryside. It went straight from one city to another. Back to us. I think we're going to pick up this grey share for free and add 3 trains into there. And then back to the bot. It's 1 on the city, so 20 up to Billings, and then 1 on here. It's the grey company building towards Billings. So grey company is up here, and Duluth is its furthest, it's its closest to Billings. And it has 3 trains, so it's going to be driving into Grand Forks, which supplies exactly the same as Duluth. Right, grey goes up 1 and orange would get 1 cotton and 1 steel. So now it's topped out on both of those. Okay. Now, are we going to do something clever with this solo grey train? I think we are. We're going to build into Chicago there, which is going to get me 1 skin and 1 wood. Which I'm not so concerned about because I think it's a runaway. As usual, the bots run away with the influence. So, but I freed up this so I can get this grey share for nothing, hopefully next round. Two on the city, so skip Santa Fe down into El Paso, and 2 on here. So white is building towards El Paso. White is sort of here, Louisville, Birmingham, and has 4 trains. 1, 2, 3, 4, so we can get as far as Tulsa. Can't quite get into Odessa or McAllen. So I think almost certainly it's going to build into Tulsa with all of its 4 trains. Following the clockwise circle rule. 1, 2, 3, which means it won't go there instead. 4. So it is going to add compensation to the brown train. And the white company picks up 3, 1, 2, 3, and the bot picks up 1 of everything because it's got that wildcard symbol again. Okay, back to us. We now pick up this grey train, grey share for nothing. And put 3 trains into grey. Back to the bot. We got 1 on the city, 3 on the companies. So El Paso to Salt Lake. 1, 2, 3. So orange is building towards Salt Lake City. It can reach Denver, which is clearly the closest city to Salt Lake City. 1, 2, 3. It's going up on wood. Wood go up on cotton. Orange gets 2 more points. I've never seen all the 4 companies like this in a line. You normally get 1 or 2 go really high. Maybe that's more in a multiplayer game. Certainly in a multiplayer game, you tend to see 1 or 2 companies rocket up really fast, and the others sort of lag down the bottom a bit in terms of share value. Right. We're going to take the last orange share for nothing and put the 3 trains in there. So now there are no more orange shares left. We only need to complete 1 more pile and the game is finished. We've got 2 brown remaining, 2 grey remaining, and 3 white remaining. Trains wise, orange is nearly gone, but that's no surprise. But the rest are looking, still have some healthy supplies. So I didn't mean to buy that orange one. I should have bought the white one. Too late now, not going back. 2 on the city, 1, 2 into Boise. And 1. See, I've goofed again, and now the bot is buying that white share that we should have had. It's all going wrong now. So it would get 2 white influence, but that's he's maxed out on cotton. Okay, that was bad on my part there. So I kind of want to build 3 steps for white now. I want to build 3 rails for white. There's a route to Denver for white that uses all 3 trains. And also down, I can't go 1, 2, 3 to Odessa because there's a shorter route here. Yeah, you don't have to go from city to city. You can branch the line off, so that would be 2, so I'd have to use that. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3 up there to Denver. So 1, 2, 3. So 2 compensation to orange, which is neither here nor there really. I get 1 wood and 1 cotton, and that is gone. Now what you want to make sure you do, okay, I said the bots run away with the influence. What I do need to make sure I do is have more than 0 influence, because if I have 0 influence in any of these companies, I cannot score them. So that would be bad. Right, bots go. It's going to skip 2 cities. So from there, skip for Walla Walla into Carson City, and 1 on the company track. So brown is building towards Carson City. And that's bad for us because it's going to top up those white trains. No, it can't build to. I was thinking there it's going to build to Denver, and 1, 2, 3 just fill up the white trains with compensation. But Denver is depleted. It can't go to Denver. Denver is only a 2 city and all its resources have been used up. So where's closest to Carson City that brown can reach with 3 trains? Brown sort of around here. This is the furthest west. You get to Omaha. 1, 2, 3 can get to Odessa. You can get to Omaha from there as well. Get up to Duluth, but that's no closer. So we're talking Omaha or Odessa, which is a long way from that destination city. So how far is that? So from Carson, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to Omaha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to Odessa. And based on the rules as written, it's going to go to Omaha because there's already a company in Omaha. The shortest route for brown to Omaha is just to run north from Tulsa. 1, 2. So orange gets 1 skin and 1 steel. No, the bot gets 1 skin, 1 steel, and brown gets 1 point on its tracker there. Okay, so I think it's I'm going to take this white share for absolutely free, and we'll put 3 trains into that space. Few left. 2, all right, see that, 2 on the city and 3 on the company. So Carson, Seattle, Los Angeles, and 1, 2, 3. So white is LA. Salt Lake City is 1, 2, 3, 4 from LA. Santa Fe is 1, 2, 3, 4. They're both the same distance from Denver. So it's going to take, neither has a train or a company already in it, so it's going to take the highest indexed city, which is Salt Lake City. So it's going to go that way. It gets nothing because it's already maxed out in cotton and steel. White gets 1. When this marker reaches San Francisco, which is the furthest, the highest index, furthest west point, it just stays there for the end of the game then. Right, so shall I could buy this white share for 1 influence, 1 white influence, and end the game. Well, the bot will get 1 more turn. Or I could build using this 1 white. Is that even possible? Yeah, I could build into New Orleans and get 1 white and 1 orange, but it's neither here nor there. It won't even push the value of the white company up. I could buy brown share for 1 influence if I want to stretch this out some more. Get extra shares. That might not be a bad idea, because if I buy the white share, the bot might buy the brown share. So I'm going to buy the brown share for 1 influence, and we're going to put 3 more trains in there. 1, 2, 3. See what the bot's going to do. It's going to San Francisco, and it's going to move 2 around there on the company track. So the grey company is going to build towards San Francisco with its 3 trains. It's going to have to come from Grand Forks, I think. And it's going to Fort Berthold. 1, 2. Finally, the bot maxes out its wood, so it is completely maxed out on all of those routes, all of those trackers. I am going to buy this white share for 1 white influence, ending the game. Well, except the bot gets another go. But we are going to put 3 more white trains in there, which ensures they won't buy 1 cheeky last share on their go, which is what I was trying to avoid. It's a recycle. Didn't quite get through all of them. There's 3 left. And recycle again, so we'll leave that one out. Yeah. Right, city doesn't move, and it moves 1, 2, 3 spaces on this company chart. So brown, for its final move, the bot is building brown in towards San Francisco, which is going to come from Omaha to Denver. I can't go to Denver because Denver's sold out. So it's 1, 2, 3. I don't know if we're supposed to do this as the crow flies. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 to Fort Berthold. So we've got 4 trains. So it can reach Odessa. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 to Odessa. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it can reach El Paso. It can reach Santa Fe. Santa Fe's got to be the closest. So it's going to build towards Santa Fe from Tulsa. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's maxed out on influence, so that does nothing, but we do add 3 value, 1, 2, 3 on the brown company, which is good for us because we've got 4 shares and the bot has none. So not an ideal move on the bot's part there. Okay, so that's the building finished, because we've depleted 2 stacks of shares. As we said, as I predicted, the bot is completely maxed out on all of these charts, so we're in second place. So when it comes to scoring, in multiplayer you use the first, second and other spaces. In the solo you only use the second and other spaces. That is to say, in multiplayer, first, the person with the most influence gets the value in the first track for each company. The person with the second most influence gets the second value, and everyone else gets the third or other value. In the solo, we're just using second and other, so that's these 2 columns furthest to the right. So let's start with the brown company over here on the left. The bot has the most influence, so it gets 7 points per share. It has 0 shares, so that is 0. We have second most influence, so we get 4 points per share, and we have 4 shares, so we are on 16. Next up is next over is the steel company, the grey company. So it's 5 points per share for the bot, so that's 10, 2 shares, and 3 points per share for us, and I've got 4, so that's 12, taking me up to 28. Orange, 6 and 3, they've got 2, so that gives them 12. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times 3 is 18. 38, 46. White is again 6 and 3. They've actually got more shares than us. They get 6 times 3 is 18, takes them up to 38. And we get 2 times 3 is 6, taking me up to 52. So the final scores as they stand, 52 to 38. So I haven't actually had a result other than a big win for me by playing in this way. I could build more, but which to be honest might be more fun, but I'm going to end up with fewer shares and probably lose. So I feel as it stands, the solo in this just against one bot is a little bit weak. I think this bot is a little bit weak because it's on its own, and because it always leaves, or it often leaves, a space where you can get a share for free or very cheap. So I do wonder if maybe getting another set of tiles and running 2 bots where you can't count on being able to pick up that share for free or cheap, because the other bot might come in and steal it. I think that might be better. I don't even know if you even need 2 sets of chips. If you could just run another bot, so the first one goes 1 and 3 and the second bot goes 2 and 2. Something to try. I will try that. So that was Mini Express. It's a deceptively simple little game, great fun with 3 or 4 players, although I think the solo is lacking something. Probably a third opponent would be all it needs to shine. I wonder if that might be something you could house rule, although I'm going to give it a few more goes before I try that. Having to balance your influence against acquiring shares is a hard decision. After all, there's no point owning half a dozen shares if they're worth nothing. On the flip side, there's no point being at 10 influence if you only have 1 share in that company. Whether you decide a balanced portfolio is better, or if you're going to go strong in 1 or 2 companies, it's something to explore over multiple plays. I'm really glad that I have Mini Express, although I do definitely enjoy it more at 3 or 4 players. I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. Please remember to hit like and subscribe to the channel for more solo content soon. If you really liked it, please consider donating via ko-fi.com/OMAHM. The link's below. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.